So with 1, 2, 3 all-ins in front of us, we look down at ace.
This is why you don't play fives.
You've still got 35 big blinds. Oh, no.
Hey everyone, Taylor Moss here. We're here for the Rec.Poker Weekend vlog. This was an event we played the end of January, beginning of February 2025. A fun event for all our Rec.Poker people to go to Running Aces, play in 4 tournaments over 2 days. What you're going to see here is the first day. It's a pretty fun event. I had a ton of fun playing in this. We also did a Player of the Series event for our Wrecking Crew members, so that all of a sudden added a little bit more juice to the tournaments, but I thought it was a ton of fun, so hopefully you enjoy it. I also made some changes this video compared to some of our prior vlogs that we've done. I'm doing more editing, more hand histories, hopefully a better breakdown as we kind of go through those things, but I'd love to hear your comments. What did you think of it? Post it in the chat down below. So hey, with that, let's hit the intro. What's going on, everyone? Taylor Moss back here for another edition of the Rec.Poker vlog. This time not a Vegas edition, instead a Running Aces Rec.Poker Weekend edition. We're just showing up here. We've got 4 tournaments coming up over the weekend. We're going to start off with the double stack. We've got the mystery bounty later, and then tomorrow we've got 2 more tournaments. So let's head into good old glorious Running Aces Hotel, Racetrack, and Casino. Let's do this. So for our first meaningful hand of Rec.Poker Day at Running Aces, we're in the big blind with the 6-4 offsuit. It folds to middle position, who limps into the pot, folds over to the button. Button also comes with, small blind completes, and we check to see a flop with our 6-4. Flop's great for us. It's ace 6-6, but with 2 diamonds. Small blind checks. We check. Under the gun now bets 1,000. Button folds. Small blind folds. We could definitely raise here, but given the inexperience of the player that I believe that we're up against, I think it's going to be relatively face up if we raise here. So I decided to call. Turn is inconsequential. Doesn't change anything. I think we have to continue our story and check here. Middle position then bets out 2,000. We could go for a raise here, but again, I'm keeping the same story. I'm going to call and then most likely bet out on the rivers or raise rivers. So we call here. Nothing again on the river here. I feel like I should probably lead in this spot to make sure we get paid by an ace, so an ace doesn't just check behind. But I checked, to which our opponent bet out 5,000. And I sat and thought about this for a little bit in terms of, like, how much should I raise to? I thought maybe a min click back to 10,000. But ultimately, I decided to just call because our opponent, I don't know if they would go for this bet with an ace, and I think they might have some 6s here. So I just call, and I guess luckily for us, we did just call against a better 6. Our opponent had king 6 here. So we got knocked down to about half a stack to start off the day. Alright, next hand, after getting knocked down with those trip 6s, we see a limp from under the gun. We also limp behind with our shorter stack. Folds around to Rob Gardner in the small blind, who also calls, and the big blind comes with. So another limped hand for us here. The flop comes Jack 10-5. We've got the open-ended straight draw and the backdoor club draw. Checks to under the gun, who bets 800. We call. Rob calls, and the big blind folds. We go to a turn that does not help us. It does bring in backdoor diamonds. Rob checks. Under the gun bets 1,200 now. We still call with our open-ended draw, and Rob folds. The river, the 4 of spades, our opponent under the gun now checks. Now it's on us. This is kind of like one of our worst combo of hands to have here. However, our opponent was an older gentleman. I just don't think they have many bluffs when they are betting flop and turn. I just don't think we're going to get them to fold. I think they're in call down mode. So I give up. I check behind. And under the gun, limped the 2 red aces. And yes, sir, that is good enough to win the pot. And we're down even more. Then, just a few hands later, down to about 8,000 in chips, and we get dealt the 2 black aces. We go all in and get called. Run the footage.
There goes my job.
You guys all in twice?
I
Please.
see him, please.
I'm just getting B-roll of Taylor getting B-roll. Oh, why didn't I have pocket fives there? I was
So after the slow start, but then getting pocket aces and getting back up to starting stack, we enter ourselves in another hand. We open the cutoff at the 300, 600 level to 1200, and just the big blind calls. This is our opponent from the trip sixes hand that we had just a couple hands ago. Flop is ace king 5, perfect for us. I'm thinking we're gonna bet big here because we want to get value from worse aces and kings. But our opponent leads out 2,000 into us. And it seems a bit odd. I would have expected them to raise any better aces. They don't really have many 2-pair combos outside of ace 5 and king 5. So I think my plan here is just going to be let them continue to bet into us, and hopefully we have the best hand. So I call. Turn comes an 8 of nothing. Opponent bets 5,000 now, not leaving themselves with any chips behind. I'm going to continue with my same plan of action and just call. River's a queen. King queen gets there. I don't think anything else really is too worrisome. They jam. We call and run the footage. Let's see what they had.
I got a king.
King.
Good hand, man. Good hand, guys. Thanks for playing, guys.
Yeah, take care.
Have a good one, guys. Take care.
So after chipping up a little bit, we get into a big pot here at the same 300, 600 level. Under the gun opens to 1,500. Folds over to the cutoff who calls. We decide to 3-bet to 6,000. Small blind folds. Big blind then jams. Under the gun also jams. Cutoff also jams. Oh, I forgot to say what I had here. Let's go to the footage. What hand did I have, and what was the run out? So with 1, 2, 3 all-ins in front of us, we look down at ace, ace. Beautiful.
One of us is gonna hit.
10.
Come on, 10. 2 out. Come on, baby. It won't even hurt you guys if I hit. Hearts. Am I the only heart? There's an 18. 1 time. 4 a heart. Great.
Ace is hell. Nice hand.
So we're off to a hot start. I mean, the aces there was huge for us. Can't believe how good we're running after starting off what felt very poorly. But then something happens that I wasn't expecting and really changes the dynamics of this first tournament here. The bad beat jackpot hits. So running aces has a bad beat jackpot for tournaments. The players split $1,500. I think it's like $1,000 to the loser, $500 to the winner of the hand. But then $3,500 goes into the prize pool. So that really changes the dynamics of the payouts, and it's going to create some really weird ICM situations for us. However, we're in a great spot. We're up to like 4x a starting stack, probably a little bit more actually. But now we have this weird ICM situation to deal with. So that's going to definitely play a place as we go through this. So now late registration is closed. where we have about half the field left, playing down to that 8-person ICM situation now that the Bad Beat Jackpot has created. But here, we're still final 4 tables or so. We get dealt the Queen 10 suited. We open for a min raise at the 800, 1600 level to 3200. Folds around to John Somsky, Poker Geek MN everywhere, as we like to call him. And he defends his big blind. The flop comes ace 4 deuce. This is obviously a beautiful flop for our given range. We should have a lot of ace x. John should barely have any 4s or deuces within his range. So he checks. We put out a small continuation bet, but John does call. The turn is the 9 of diamonds. John checks, and we decide to check behind. I don't think that 9 helps him. I think we fold out all his 9x with our continuation bet on the flop. However, he could have a 3, he could have a 5, he could have a low pair. And we'll just go to a river and decide what to do at that point. The river comes the 7 of clubs. Again, I don't think he has many 7x here. But he decides to bet 6,500. And it might seem like an auto fold here. However, I was really curious about what John might have in this specific spot. I don't think he's going to value bet a deuce or a 4 here on the river now. I don't think he has any 9x or 7x that just floats, unless it was like a 2-pair type of hand, like like a 4-7 or something like that. So I think we lose to 2-pair, and then maybe he's going to value bet an ace here. So I actually decide I'm going to go for a call because I think he's going to have to bluff all his 3x, all his 5x that he would have called on the flop, and we might get to kind of sneak a little one away from him. So we decide to put in the call, and he shows the 8-4 offsuit, value owning us, catching us, bluff catching a little bit too wide, and John scoops a nice pot there. Then just a few hands later, we get it in ace-king versus an opponent's king-queen. Let's go see the run out here quick.
Don't run the board just yet.
This weekend. Sometimes, probably the whole week.
Okay, go ahead.
So the next big hand here comes when we have our big blind of 9-6 suited. Under the gun +1, Jay Sedum from the Rec.Poker home game opens up to 7,000 at the 1,500, 3,000 level. Folds over to me in the big blind with suited 2 gappers. I'm going to see a flop here. This sounds good to me. The flop comes queen, queen 9. I'm liking this. It's unlikely your opponent has a queen. They're going to continuation bet a lot here, and I'm going to go for a check raise quite often. We check, and our opponent checks behind. The turn is a 4. That really doesn't change anything. Now we could lead out here. However, I think it's highly unlikely that the opponent's going to check twice, and they're going to have a very high delayed continuation bet range. So we check. Our opponent bets 2 big blinds, 6,000 into us. We spring our planned trap and raise to 16,000. Our opponent thinks for a little bit and then looks at us and jams all in for 69,000. Well, we had 6,900 at our low point, and that's where we started our ascent. We also have 6-9 in our hand, and I think they might just be full of it. I don't think they're gonna check an overpair. Maybe they're trying to trap with queens here, but it just seems so unlikely that they could have a queen in this spot. Feels like they have like ace king and are trying to catch us, trying to catch them in a spot. So I decide to call. We've got the footage here. Let's see what they had.
Flop sets. There is a seat. Sorry.
All right, you guys flip them.
Damn.
Stinks to lose that one, but we can't sulk too much. We got right into a hand, but it was a big one. Let's see it.
You fold if you want.
He's
coming, he's coming.
He can't fold, he's just recording.
At least I have an over. All right, good luck, boys. Here we go.
That's why they call it. Ooh. All right.
4?
Yeah,
Anticlimactic on that.
All right, we've made it second break now. We're down to 19 players. 8 are going to make the money, and we've got an interesting spot here because the bad beat hit earlier. We're going to have a big bubble, essentially. Usually the bubble is like 2x min cash. It's actually like 3.5. There's more up top. There's all this added pressure to it. So we got to make the money, and then we got to make a big run. Could be really cool. So let's see if we can do this and run up a stack. It's a kind of a crucial time, but we've got a huge chip stack for the moment. Just hopefully we can keep it. The king-queen hand. All right, when opponent had king-queen, that kind of hurts us, but I don't know. It felt kind of awkward in the spot, but hopefully we can run good, and we'll do more updates as we hit the final table. So with 2 tables left, we're approaching the final table. We're still a little bit of ways away, but a ton of left to play. Andrew Feist opens under the gun where we're playing 7-handed. It folds to me. I've got pocket 7s in the cutoff. I decided to call. We see a flop. It's a king-king-9 flop. Andrew leads out for 7,000. It's a small down bet. I expect him to do this quite a bit here. I don't think we can fold a pair just yet, so we're going to put in that call. Turn is a 10 of clubs. This is a pretty complicated board, but he should be worried about what we have. We have a lot of things that connect with this pot in some sort of way. So Andrew checks and we check behind. Gets to a river of a 3 of spades. Andrew bets 16,000. It's about a third pot here. I think we have enough equity to call. I decide I am going to call. I put in the call. And Andrew shows the pocket 5s. And he's got some sage advice for everyone. Let's see the run out.
This is why you don't play 5s.
And with that, no other major hands. We do chip up a bit. And now we're at the final table. Huge ICM pressure now with 9 people left and 8 people remaining.
Bunch of Rec.Poker guys.
So we made the final table. 9 people left, 8 people paid. There's some short stacks, and we've got, it's like 250K. We're in a really good spot. We play a few hands and realize that, one, everyone wants to pay the bubble, and I'm one that says, no, I don't want to pay the bubble. I get a little bit of flack for it, but I don't know. It's a thing that I just almost never do. If we pay the bubble, then it means the previous person was the bubble. And in this spot especially, like, we're benefiting a lot by playing out this bubble. We've got 250 plus K. There's a lot of short stacks. We want to play out this bubble, and we want to kind of accumulate chips. Unfortunately, that's not really what works out for us. We try to play some hands. No one really respects this bubble. No one is playing as tight as they expect them to. So I essentially just decide I'm not going to play a whole lot of hands. But we do get this one opportunity. Rob Gardner opens for, I think it was like 4.5 big blinds. We're at the 510K level, and he went for like 45K or something like that. We had Jack 10 suited, and he had 3s, and here's the run out.
Quad jacks.
Wait for it. No, I'm getting the 20 out. I'm getting the 20 out.
Hey, we burst the bubble there. That's good for us. We're now in the money. 8 people left, big chip stack, and time to go after a few more. It's not too many hands later, and we get this opportunity. We opened to 20K on the 5K, 10K, some short stack jams. We have ace-8 suited versus their 9s. See the run out.
Folded pocket 5s. Oh, that's good. Good fold. Yeah, that's good fold.
Sit open, John.
Yeah, nice playing.
Always nice to run well. So we win that one. We get another opportunity for a bust out. So we open King Jack suited. We have the big blind jam on us. We call it off. They have Ace Jack, and let's see the run out.
Oh yeah, he's got a yeah.
How come these rec players have different rules than we do?
Yeah.
76.
Oh, wow. All right.
Oh wow. Oh.
Jock is good. Ace Jock.
So after knocking 2 players out, we're sitting pretty well with 7 people left. We're under the gun +1 and decide we're going to open up the 10-8 suited for a min raise. Everyone's playing relatively tight. I think this is going to be totally fine for us to do as the chip leader. The button calls, everyone else folds. We go to a flop and see the dream scenario close to it. I mean, there's some hands that we're beat against, but wow, our hand should be very well protected, disguised, I should say. But we might have to protect against club draws, straight draws, those types of things. Do we lead? Do we check? What do you think? I decide I'm going to check here. I don't think this hits too much of our range, even though it hits our exact hand. We check. Button bets 30k into us, and we just call. Turns a 5 of nothing. Not going to be a time where we now lead, so I check. Opponent bets 55,000, and we just call. The river's the ace of clubs. This is a really weird one. It hits some of our range into 2 pairs. It hits some of his range into flushes. A lot of straights miss. I'm going to check and just call it off, but I don't know what's going to call us if we try and value bet here. So we check. Opponent checks behind, and they table the ace jack, and our 10-8 is good. Kind of a weird hand. Like, we could definitely have gone for a raise at some point. Maybe this is one of those hands that we could have value bet on the river and got our opponent to call off, but regardless, we scoop a massive pot here, giving us a commanding chip lead with 7 people left. Hopefully you've enjoyed everything so far. Jim and I are both at the final table. More action coming up. But while I have you, I want you to know we're on our quest to 1 million YouTube subscribers. We're on our way there. We're only a little bit away. We're waiting for that last 998K.
So close. So close.
Please, below this video, hit that like, hit subscribe.
Get in there, like it, subscribe it. We can get all the way to 1 million. We're so close. Let's do it.
We're almost there. Thanks. So after that, stuff went quick. I mean, we're at the final table. There were 6 people left. I caught one bust out of ace-8, busting out to pocket 9s. A little bit later, Jim jams 9s, and opponent has queens. Board ran out relatively scary, but nothing actually hit for Jim. So Jim hit the rail in 4th, and we're down to 3-handed, and everyone had been playing super aggressive. We got into this hand where the button, J-Setum, opened. The small blind just ripped, having both of us covered. They had about 600k. I had probably just a hair under 500, somewhere around there in the big blind, but I had pocket queens. So let's go to the run out there. That this was a very huge and crucial hand with 3 people left.
We've still got 35 people. Oh, wow. Okay. You're all in.
He's all in. Call.
You called. I'm gonna fold. Oh. Wow.
9s, queens, ace, jack.
Wow. What a hand. What a hand.
Huge. Queens versus ace jack. We hold. Beautiful spot for us, 3-handed. So now we have like 2/3 of the chips in play, maybe a little bit more. It's just time for us to close this thing out. We get some decent-ish hands. We just jam them. You know, they've got 10 big blinds or so. We've got them both easily covered. We get a lot of folds. But we do jam one hand. three-handed, we jam ace-9 off. Totally like normal and reasonable for us. But for Jay Sedum, he's got ace-jack, calls us off. We watch the run out. It almost hits a straight. Doesn't come through. Jay Sedum doubles up. We still have a good chip lead, so we're not too worried. A few hands later, then we get pocket sixes in versus the other person's ace-deuce offsuit. Flop comes out with a deuce for our opponent. However, the turn is a 6, and we hit a set. We scoop that pot. And now we're heads up again with about 2/3 of chips. We lost a stack to Jay Sedum, but we took our opponent's stack. They had about the same, so it kind of evened out for us. We got down. We played a few hands. Ultimately, I decided to throw out a chop option for Jay Sedum. If I get the 4,000, he can take the rest. We can move on with our day. I know we have another tournament coming up. Tournament number 2 has already started. I'm watching everyone start to play the mystery bounty. I have not checked into my hotel yet. I have a lot of other things that I would like to get done. And heads up can be anyone's game too. So Jay Sedum ultimately accepts the offer. I take 4,000 in first place. He takes second. It's a huge win for us. Also huge because we're doing a player of the series point tracker. We're doing points the same way that we do for a Rec.Poker home game. And if you chop, you like take the average of what the places are that you chop. So I chopped first and second, so I got the average of first and second points for that tracker. But that puts us into first place for the tracker, or sorry, for the player of the series event. It's huge for us. Bragging rights on that one, but plus a huge win. It's great to have a huge win. So yeah, I'm loving it. I'm super happy. We cash out for 4,000. We give a little tip to the dealers and staff there. We also give Jim a little tip for the food bank because we're doing a fundraiser for the food bank. We make a donation there as well, but still come out in really good shape. So I went and checked into my hotel, and then I went and fired the mystery bounty. So let's get into some mystery bounty hands. But first, a winner's photo, because we all love winner's photos. All right, we're not going to get to any mystery bounty hands. So we played the mystery bounty. I didn't get any hands. Late registration closes, and we finally get an opportunity. We have the button open. We jam with King 10, button calls, and here's the run out that we have for the mystery bounty.
I had one of your jacks. Or your nine. Yeah. Sure. Ace.
Jim.
So GG's to us in the mystery bounty. Or I guess GG's. I mean, we never really had anything going. We got it in bad and didn't hit. So 50th place for us, but it goes really well with the first place that we had earlier today. We're sitting atop the point leaderboard for our player of the series event, but it's not over. We do have to fade everyone else doing well in this mystery bounty event. And sure enough, the person that we made bubble and get 9th place in the morning tournament, Rob Gardner, goes on a run. He makes the final table. He's got a pretty decent chip stack. He gets into some good spots. Right away, he gets in ace-king versus fives. Shows that hand who's boss with the ace-king winning. A few hands later, he gets it in ace-queen versus sevens. Again, 2 overs versus a pair. He hits, and, chips up a little bit. And then they're down to the final 4. And Rob gets it in. They're all short stacked. He gets it in ace-9 versus ace-jack. A really crummy spot for him. It looks like he's going to go out in 4th. Flop's no good. It's got a jack on it. Turn gives straight and flush draws. And then the river brings in a straight. So he becomes the chip leader with 4 people left. Then he knocks another person out who has pocket 5s. He shows them who's boss. But from there, the other person chips back up and gets him covered. They're heads up. He's going for the title. He gets it in king jack versus ace queen and a queen high flop with no other saving cards for him. And Rob goes out in 2nd. It was a huge event for him. A big win. You got to pull some mystery bounties as well. But for our race, it was even more important because it made him leapfrog us into first place. So we're now in second place, trailing by a few points. It's going to come down to those final 2 tournaments. It's really going to be about who can make one more run within this thing, or who else that hasn't done well so far is going to make a run, because someone could win the Saturday morning tournament, and then all of a sudden we're in this 3-way competition for our player of the series. So it's going to be a fun one for day 2. I'm excited for it. I hope you're excited for it. Video of that coming out soon. But that wraps up this video. Hopefully everyone enjoyed it. Please, please, please like, comment, subscribe, all those fun things. Please do it. It helps us out. I very much appreciate it. Comment, let us know what you thought of this video. It's a little bit different, a little bit more of me talking, more hand breakdowns. But let us know. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like, because we can always adjust for future versions. But yeah, that wraps it up for us. We'll be back next video. Day 2, we're going for Player of the Series for Rec.Poker Weekend. Let's hit the outro.